Hey there chaps and chapettes, Roddy Jodphurs here again. If you're watching this, I'm not actually here, I'm elsewhere, so I figured I would use this opportunity to throw together a quick little tutorial on something that I've noticed a lot of people doing wrong. And of course this heinous crime, this terrible thing that people do incorrectly, is how the common person, particularly the common American, who there are a lot of on the internet, think you are supposed to make tea. So without further ado, here is Roddy Jodphurs' English guide to making a cup of tea. The first thing to know about tea is that there are 3 varieties or families of tea. The first is black tea, which normal people drink. The second is green tea, which dirty hippies drink. And the third is white tea, which posh dirty hippies drink, so we don't have any of those. We do, however, have plenty of black tea. Now, within the family of black tea, it will be provided in one of 4 ways. It will either be in loose leaf, which, whilst providing a superior beverage, we do not currently have a diffuser since some bastard nicked it, so we won't be using that today. That'll be for next time. Then there will be the tea bag varieties. Round, square, or pyramid. And now the pyramid is the superior tea bag because it allows more room for the tea to swirl around and diffuse its lovely flavour. However, because it is the superior tea bag, it is expensive, so I will also not be using that for the purposes of this video. That gets saved for special occasions, like when I want to murder someone. It's also worth pointing out that there are certain things that call themselves tea, which are not in fact tea. For instance, this is baked apple flavour, superior tea pyramids. There is no tea in this beverage. It is a hot apple drink that happens to be served in a tea bag-like substance. Not tea. Always double check. If you serve an English person something that is not actually tea, believing it is tea, you may be stoned to death. Proper English tea is always served in a cup, unless you are common, in which case you are allowed to use a mug, but your grandparents will shame you for it. The tea bag is placed within the cup, and then hot water is poured. The hot water should be from a kettle, or, if you are completely void of kettles, boiled on the stove. It should never, on any account, be heated in the microwave, because we are not savages, nor are we 1980s businessmen. Of course, no cup of tea would be complete without the teapot. However, modern times have redictated the etiquette of serving tea. One is, of course, perfectly welcome to use the single cup approach of tea bag in cup. However, if one is attempting to impress their guests, or gives a shit in any way about their opinions, then one uses the teapot. The rule of the teapot is simple. 1 tea bag for each person drinking, and then 1 more to appease the elder gods. The hot water is then poured into the chosen receptacle, again mentioning that the hot water is prepared in a kettle, or perhaps on the stove, and not in the microwave, you savage! One then leaves the tea to steep. Black tea takes 3 to 5 minutes, green tea takes 2 to 3 minutes, and white tea takes a mere 1 to 2 minutes steeping time, presumably so that you then have more time to do whatever it is posh, filthy hippies do. Perhaps protesting to help the environment, then driving home in your ruddy great 4x4. The important thing, which I almost forgot to mention because I felt like it was such a rudimentary fact of life I forget that people get this wrong, is that the water with which one makes one's tea has to have boiled. And I mean recently. It has to be currently boiling when one pours it into the receptacle. Not boiled in the last 5 minutes. not warm enough. If it is not recently boiled within the last 10 seconds, does not infuse properly, then you have the disgusting, milky, pale, horrible off colour of undiffused tea. As a general rule, you will know you have made your tea correctly when it is a different colour to me. The English upper classes have been bred especially to allow this rule. Eons ago, the upper, more important members of each tribe used to have battles regarding whether a person put the milk in first or the milk in second. There have been wars over this. Well, not actual wars, just the sort of, upper class wars where croquet hoops are thrown at one another. And, well, we don't really have Jeremy Kyle, but we do have Prince Philip, and he runs close second. So, I am now going to settle this for you once and for all, and I will not hear any argument. When one is making tea for oneself, it does not matter at all whether you put the milk in first or second, because it makes no change to the overall taste of the beverage. However, if one is making tea for another person, one puts the milk in second, after asking whether that other person needs milk. Some people take tea with honey and lemon, which is a completely valid choice of partaking of this beverage. However, inadvisable if you have cheaped on the tea bags. This is the point at which one adds sugar if one so desires. However, if one does so desire, then one is probably a bit of a thickie. And there you have the guide to making the perfect cup of tea. Consume at leisure, and do make sure to do it properly in future. Or I'll be round with the boys. It's worth mentioning at this point that I am not sponsored by any particular brand. However, if they did want to sponsor me, even if they weren't, say, Whittards, purveyor of fine English teas, and were more like Twinings, I wouldn't kick up a fuss.